In a vibrant Nigerian village, a kind stepdaughter's life of toil hides a royal destiny. Will her compassion conquer her cruel stepmother's schemes? Discover Adaze's epic tale.
In a bustling village nestled among baobab trees in Yorubaland, a family lived in a mud brick compound. Amaka, a widowed mother, had two daughters, Nneka, her biological child, and Adise, her stepdaughter from her late husband's first wife. Amaka's heart overflowed with love for Nneka, whom she adorned with colorful wrappers and beads, sparing her from chores. Adise, however, toiled from dawn to dusk, fetching water, pounding yam, and sweeping the compound. The villagers whispered about Amaka's cruelty, but Adise bore her burdens with quiet grace, her spirit unbroken, dreaming of a day when kindness would be her reward. Amaka's favoritism was as clear as the harmattan sun. Nneka lounged under the mango tree, fanned by palm fronds, while Adise scrubbed pots until her hands blistered. Nneka must remain delicate for a wealthy suitor, Amaka declared, her voice sharp. Adise, clad in faded wrappers, was sent to the market to sell groundnuts, her earnings snatched by Amaka. Neighbors shook their heads, but none dared confront Amaka's wrath. Adise hummed songs of hope, her heart tethered to memories of her late mother's love, believing the gods saw her suffering and would one day intervene. One morning, the village drumbeats announced grand news: the young king of the kingdom, Oba Tunde, was visiting to seek a bride. The air buzzed with excitement as mothers polished their daughters' beauty like precious beads. Amaka's eyes gleamed with ambition. "Nneka, you will marry the king," she proclaimed, draping her daughter in gold-threaded aso-oke. Adise, scrubbing the courtyard, overheard and felt a pang of longing. Yet, her thoughts were interrupted by Amaka's command, "Adise, you'll stay home and work. No king wants a servant girl." Adise nodded, her dreams buried beneath duty. The village prepared for the king's arrival, decorating the square with palm fronds and kola nuts. Amaka spent hours braiding Nneka's hair with cowrie shells, her laughter filling the compound. Adise was tasked with grinding maize and fetching firewood, her steps heavy under the load. "You must also dig potatoes in the forest tomorrow," Amaka barked. "We need money for Nneka's beauty." Adise's heart sank, knowing the forest was far and dangerous, but she obeyed. As she worked, she prayed to Elegime, the supreme god, for strength, sensing a turning point in her fate. The eve of the king's visit was alive with music and torchlight. Amaka paraded Nneka before neighbors, boasting of her daughter's charm. Adise, forbidden from attending, sat by the fire, mending Nneka's old wrappers. Her fingers ached, but her spirit danced with hope. She whispered to the stars, "If not a king, grant me peace." Meanwhile, Amaka schemed, plotting to ensure Nneka caught Oba Tunde's eye. Unbeknownst to all, the king's journey had already begun, his royal convoy winding through the forest, where fate and misfortune awaited under the moon's watchful gaze. At dawn, Adise trekked to the forest, a hoe slung over her shoulder, to dig potatoes as Amaka ordered. The path was rugged, lined with thorny shrubs and chattering monkeys. Her faded wrapper snagged on branches, but she pressed on, driven by duty. The forest hummed with life, crickets sang, and distant drums echoed the village's excitement. Adise's thoughts wandered to the feast she'd miss, her heart heavy yet hopeful. As she knelt to dig, she noticed a faint groan nearby. Curiosity stirred her soul, guiding her toward a destiny she could not yet fathom. Deep in the forest, Adise found a man slumped against a baobab, his body bruised and clad only in tattered cloth. His breath was shallow, his eyes clouded with pain. Fear gripped her, but compassion won. She tore her wrapper to bandage his wounds, offering water from her calabash. The man, unable to speak, gazed at her with gratitude. Adise's heart raced, helping him meant defying Amaka's orders to return quickly. Yet, she couldn't abandon him. With effort, she supported his weight, guiding him toward the village, unaware of the royal blood coursing through his veins. Adise struggled to bring the stranger to the compound, her arms trembling under his weight. Amaka, sipping palm wine with Nneka, spotted them and flew into a rage. "Who is this filthy beggar?" she shrieked, her eyes blazing. Adise explained his injuries, pleading for mercy, but Amaka scoffed. "You waste time on a useless man while Nneka prepares for the king. Get him out." Nneka smirked, fanning herself. Adise, undeterred, settled the stranger in a corner, fetching herbs to soothe his wounds, her kindness a quiet rebellion against Amaka's cruelty. Unbeknownst to the village, Oba Tunde's convoy had been ambushed the previous night. Robbers, lurking in the forest, stripped him of his royal jewels and garments, leaving him battered and alone. The king, too weak to reveal his identity, wandered until collapse claimed him. It was Adise who found him, her gentle hands pulling him from death's grasp. As he rested in her care, his strength slowly returned, and with it, admiration for the girl whose heart shone brighter than the gold stolen from him. Fate had woven their paths together. Days passed, and Adise tended to the stranger, whom she called Chidi, meaning God exists. She shared her meager meals, cleaned his wounds with aloe, and spoke softly of village life. Chidi, still voiceless from trauma, listened, his eyes tracing her weary but radiant face. Amaka's taunts grew harsher, calling Adise lazy for neglecting chores, yet Adise persisted. Nneka, jealous of the attention Chidi received, mocked Adise's kindness. But Adise's heart was steadfast, rooted in the belief that goodness, like the Iroko tree, stood tall against storms. Chidi's strength returned, sparked by her care. The day of the king's feast arrived, but Oba Tunde was absent, still recovering in Adise's care. The village square brimmed with maidens in vibrant wrappers, Nneka among them, her beauty dazzling under the sun. Amaka, confident of victory, whispered strategies to Nneka. The king's advisors, unaware of his fate, postponed the bride selection, causing murmurs of confusion. Amaka fumed, blaming Adise for some imagined curse. Adise, oblivious to the chaos, focused on Chidi, whose faint smiles warmed her heart. The village waited, sensing a mystery unfolding beneath the surface. Chidi's wounds healed, and his voice returned, though he spoke little, guarding his identity. Adise shared stories of her late mother, her laughter like a river breaking through stone. Chidi, moved by her resilience, felt a stirring in his heart. He watched her toil under Amaka's orders, her spirit unyielding. One evening, as they sat by the fire, he grasped her hand, whispering, "Your kindness is a treasure." Adise blushed, unaware of his growing love. The compound, steeped in Amaka's greed, felt smaller as their bond grew, a quiet promise blooming amidst hardship. Amaka's patience snapped. "This beggar has overstayed," she declared, dragging Chidi from the compound. Adise pleaded, but Amaka's heart was stone. Chidi, now strong, stood tall, his eyes locking with Adise. "I will return," he promised softly, limping into the dusk. Amaka turned on Adise, assigning her endless tasks as punishment. Nneka laughed, relishing Adise's distress. Alone, Adise wept, clutching the cloth she'd used to bandage Chidi. Yet, her tears carried hope, as if the wind whispered of a coming change, stirring the village's restless spirits. The next morning, trumpets blared, and dust rose as soldiers marched into the village. Villagers gathered, awestruck by the royal banners. Amaka, sensing opportunity, primed Nneka, dreaming of queenship. Adise, sweeping the compound, paused as the procession stopped before their gate. From the palanquin emerged Chidi, now resplendent in royal agbada, his presence commanding. Amaka gasped, her knees trembling. Chidi, Oba Tunde, scanned the crowd, his eyes seeking Adise. The village held its breath, sensing a tale unfolding, one that would echo through generations, carved in the annals of their history. Oba Tunde's voice boomed, silencing the crowd. I am your king, ambushed and left for dead. One soul saved me, her kindness my salvation. Amaka, pale, pushed Nneka forward, but Tan's gaze fixed on Adise, who stood humbly, her wrapper stained with toil. Adise, step forward, he commanded. Murmurs rippled as Adise obeyed, her heart pounding. Tan recounted his ordeal, praising Adise's compassion. Amaka's face twisted in disbelief, her schemes crumbling. Nneka's beauty paled beside Adise's radiant spirit, and the villagers nodded, seeing justice in the king's words. Amaka, desperate, fell to her knees. Great king, my daughter Nneka is more fitting. Adise is but a servant. Nneka smiled coyly, batting her lashes. Tan's eyes hardened. A queen is not made by beads but by heart. Adise's kindness surpasses your greed. The crowd cheered, their voices a chorus of approval. Adise, trembling, met Tan's gaze, her humility unshaken. Amaka's pleas turned to wails, but the king's resolve was iron. The village square, alive with torchlight, bore witness to a truth as old as the hills: goodness prevails. Oba Tunde took Adise's hand, his voice soft yet resolute. Adise, you saw a man, not a king, and loved him with your heart. Will you be my queen? Tears welled in Adise's eyes as she nodded, overwhelmed. The crowd erupted in joy, drumming and dancing under the stars. Amaka collapsed, her ambitions dust. Nneka, humiliated, fled the square. Adise, still in her faded wrapper, stood beside Tunde, her heart soaring. The gods, she felt, had answered her prayers, weaving her pain into a tapestry of triumph. The village transformed into a festival of colors. Drummers pounded rhythms, and women ululated as Adise was adorned in royal aso-oke, her beauty now unveiled. Elders blessed the union, offering kola nuts to the ancestors. Tan gifted Adise a coral necklace, symbolizing her queenship. Villagers, once silent, now sang her praises, marveling at her journey. Amaka and Nneka watched from the shadows, their hearts heavy with envy. The feast lasted till dawn, with yam porridge and palm wine flowing, a testament to Adise's rise and the villagers' renewed faith in justice. Alone in the compound, Amaka sat, her pride shattered. Villagers shunned her, whispering of her cruelty. Nneka, sullen, blamed her mother for their disgrace. Amaka recalled Adise's quiet endurance, her kindness mocked yet victorious. Regret gnawed at her, but pride choked her apologies. She stared at the empty courtyard, once ruled by her commands, now silent. The wind carried the villagers' laughter, a reminder of her folly. Amaka's heart, once stone, cracked, but too late. The gods, she knew, had judged her, and their verdict was as unyielding as the iroko tree. In the palace, Adise adapted to queenship with grace. She walked among maids, not as a mistress but a sister, sharing laughter and wisdom. Tan marveled at her humility, his love deepening. Adise introduced village dishes to the royal kitchen, her yam stew a favorite. She visited her old compound, leaving gifts for neighbors who once pitied her. Her kindness rippled, inspiring the kingdom. At night, she and Tan sat under the palace's palm trees, sharing dreams of a just reign, their bond a beacon for a kingdom longing for harmony. Under Queen Adise's influence, the kingdom flourished. She built wells for villages, easing women's burdens, and schools for children, igniting young minds. Her compassion tempered Tan's justice, earning the people's love. Markets buzzed with trade, and festivals grew grander, celebrating unity. Adise's story spread, sung by griots, inspiring maidens to value kindness over vanity. Even distant kingdoms sent envoys, drawn by tales of the queen who rose from servitude. Adise, ever humble, credited Elegime, her heart full. The palace, once cold, now glowed with warmth, a mirror of her spirit. Nneka, humbled by disgrace, wandered the village, her beauty faded by bitterness. One day, she found Adise distributing maize to the poor. Swallowing pride, Nneka approached, head bowed. "Sister, I wronged you," she whispered. Adise, ever kind, embraced her, offering forgiveness. She invited Nneka to the palace, teaching her to serve others. Slowly, Nneka's heart softened, her vanity replaced by purpose. Villagers, seeing her change, welcomed her back. Adise's forgiveness, like a river, cleansed old wounds, proving that even the hardest hearts could find redemption through love. Nneka, humbled by disgrace, wandered the village, her beauty faded by bitterness. One day, she found Adise distributing maize to the poor. Swallowing pride, Nneka approached, head bowed. "Sister, I wronged you," she whispered. Adise, ever kind, embraced her, offering forgiveness. She invited Nneka to the palace, teaching her to serve others. Slowly, Nneka's heart softened, her vanity replaced by purpose. Villagers, seeing her change, welcomed her back. Adise's forgiveness, like a river, cleansed old wounds, proving that even the hardest hearts could find redemption through love. Adise and Tan's wedding was a spectacle, uniting kingdoms. The palace shimmered with lanterns, and drummers from afar played till dawn. Adise, in gold-threaded geli, glowed beside Tand, their vows sealed with kola nuts. Villagers danced, their joy a river overflowing. Elders recounted Adise's journey, a tale of triumph over cruelty. Even Nneka, now changed, joined the celebration, her heart light. The ancestors, appeased, blessed the union with a gentle breeze. Adise, once a servant, now a queen, stood tall, her love for Tand a flame that warmed the kingdom. The robbers who ambushed Tand were caught, their hideout betrayed by a repentant member. Brought before the king, they trembled, expecting death. Adise, wise and merciful, spoke. "Let them rebuild what they destroyed, roads, wells, lives." Tand agreed, sentencing them to labor for the kingdom. The robbers, grateful for mercy, worked diligently, their hearts stirred by Adise's compassion. Villagers, once fearful, saw justice tempered with hope. The kingdom's peace deepened, rooted in Adise's belief that redemption, like a seed, could grow even in the hardest soil, transforming foes into allies. Years passed, and Adise's legacy grew. She bore children, each raised with her values of kindness and justice. The kingdom's children sang her praises, calling her mother of all. She established councils for women, giving them voices in governance. Her compassion inspired laws protecting the poor, ensuring no one suffered as she once did. Tand, her partner, ruled with wisdom, their love a cornerstone of the kingdom's golden age. Adise's story, etched in oral tradition, became a beacon, reminding all that a single act of kindness could ripple through time, shaping destinies. The village, once divided by Amaka's cruelty, united in gratitude for Adise. They erected a statue in her honor, carved from Iroko, depicting her with a calabash, symbolizing her giving heart. Annual festivals celebrated her, with dances retelling her journey. Elders taught children her story, a lesson in resilience. Even Amaka's name faded, her cruelty a footnote. Adise visited often, her laughter mingling with villagers' songs. The baobab trees, witnesses to her pain, now shaded her joy, their roots deep as the love she'd sown, binding the community in harmony. Nneka, transformed, became a healer, using herbs to mend the sick. Her hands, once idle, now brought relief, earning villagers' respect. She married a kind farmer, their home filled with laughter. Adise, proud, visited often, their sisterhood restored. Nneka's journey, though slower, mirrored Adise's, proof that change was possible. She taught her children Adise's story, urging them to choose kindness. The village, seeing Nneka's growth, forgave her past, embracing her as one of their own. Her redemption, sparked by Adise's love, wove another thread into the kingdom's tapestry. Amaka, old and frail, lived alone, her compound overgrown with weeds. One night, Adise visited, offering forgiveness. Amaka, tears in her eyes, whispered, "I was wrong." Adise held her, their rift healing as Amaka's strength faded. She died peacefully, her heart lightened by Adise's grace. The village buried her with respect, honoring Adise's wish. Amaka's story, though tragic, served as a warning: cruelty reaps solitude, but forgiveness restores. Adise's compassion, even for her tormentor, cemented her legacy, a light that no darkness could dim. Centuries later, Adise's story lived on, sung by griots under starlit skies. The kingdom, now a beacon of justice, thrived, its wells and schools her enduring gifts. Her descendants ruled with her spirit, their reigns marked by peace. Villagers, gathering under the Iroko, retold her tale, each generation adding flourishes, yet the core remained: kindness triumphs over cruelty, and love reshapes destinies. Adise, the servant-turned-queen, became a myth, her life a proverb: the heart that gives, though scarred, will rise. And so, her light shone, eternal as the African sun. Moral lesson. The tale of Adise teaches us that kindness and resilience triumph over cruelty and greed. No matter how heavy the burdens imposed by others, a compassionate heart can transform lives and rewrite destinies. Adise's selflessness, even in the face of injustice, shows that true strength lies in uplifting others, and goodness will always shine through, earning respect and love. The story reminds us to choose empathy over envy, to forgive rather than curse, and to trust that our actions, rooted in love, will shape a brighter future for ourselves and our communities. If you were moved by Adise's journey in The Story of the Cruel Stepmother, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring African folktales. Share this video with friends to spread the message of kindness and resilience. Drop a comment below: how has a small act of kindness changed your life? Let's build a community that celebrates compassion. Don't forget to click the bell icon to stay updated on our latest stories. Together, let's keep the spirit of African storytelling alive. #African Folktales #kindness wins.